make your vote, which you should if you can still make it, because this is our voice, and this is a real treasure for all of us. Who grew up going to the Science Center here? Yeah. And you know, I hear people criticizing, oh, it needed to be modernized. I'm like, the basics of science have not changed. We all still need to know those basics, and they did it in a fun way, and I was there at March break with my kids, and I physically feel pain when I drive on Don Mills Road and I pass the building. I actually feel pain in my heart, because that is a precious place that I brought my kids to, that I grew up going to, and it was an interactive, fun way to understand science. And why would we watch this thing get dismantled? I've seen some pictures of that dismantling, have my heart further broken, but we can't go silently into the night. We have to fight, and we have to fight on all fronts. There's so many things we need to fight for right now in this provincial election and beyond. We have to fight against the polarization of democracy. It's really a terrible thing we're watching happening south of the border, the anger, the finger pointing, the name calling. It doesn't achieve a better future. The way that we get to a better future is if we communicate, collaborate, and look for common ground across the spectrums in politics. That's the only way to a better future. So I hope that as we participate to save the Science Center, we should participate and hold our leaders to account. What kind of leader are you? Are you name calling? Are you finger pointing? Or are you bringing vision and solutions?
So if Doug Ford wins and becomes the governor, as he seems to want, the most important thing that we need to keep our eye on is that even if he wants to open up another science center down to the waterfront, which will really be like a luxury waiting room for a private spa, and even if he is going to do all that, which we need to continue fighting equally, there is nothing that should stop us from having, whether it be called the Science Center, the Discovery Center, the Natural History, like whatever it is, but there's nothing that stops us from having a science museum in the northern part of our city for many years to come, and we are going to continue fighting for that regardless who the premier is. Okay?
We have Councillor Chang, Lily Chang, Willowdale is here, and along with Josh and Parthy and Rachel, and you know what, the last two motions at City Council was
Carl, who has a question or a comment. Carl?
Well, what I want to say, I don't know if Doug Ford's going to listen to this. In fact, the Science Center was the first Science Center I've ever been to. In fact, I just want to let all of you know that I don't want it to be closed. I want it to be open.
Yeah. Big round for this young man, please.
I've been there more than once. And guess what? I want him. I want him gone. I want him never to do this ever again. I don't want him to do it ever again. So, what do we want?
We knew.
Over the Science Center.
We want it.
Thank you, Carl!
We've been doing this that long. In 2020, a new CEO for the Science Center was hired. He was a previous employee, he was a director of education, but spent the previous 10 years in the United States relocating two similar type facilities, museum science centers, children's museum, one in El Paso and one in Winston-Salem. He was hired specifically in 2020 to put us where we are today. This is, no, just in case you want to send them a love note, Paul Kortner, CEO's CEO. Anyway, so this is where we are today. A gentleman here wants to say a few words. They promised to keep it short.
How you doing? When I first moved to Flumo Park in 1984, right, the first thing I saw that I really fell in love with was the Ontario Science Center. And every day my mom and me and my sister always, she always like take us there, right, to hang out, by the waterfalls, the water fountain. So beautiful. And when I went inside, I couldn't believe my eyes that I really love the Science Center, my favorite place. And every day on my field trip, right, I was saying to my teachers, let's go to Science Center. Nowhere else but the Science Center. And then 30 years later now, from what I heard that on the news that they shut down the Science Center because of the roof tattoo, I was shocked and devastated. I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep, I stayed all night thinking about it. Wow. That's why today we're here, right? We must fight to save the Science Center. This is going anywhere. From my community, Flumo Park, and Brooklyn Park, and all around us. It's staying put. We need to tell that Doug Ford in his face. Thank you.
Science Center.
I wonder why they want to destroy it. I just want them to not. Why the heck do they have sewage going through the little lake?
Wow. So you're talking about like both the Science Center and Ontario Place. So there's a lot of ideas. By the way, thank you for that really thoughtful question. There are a lot of suggestions about why Doug Ford.
I know that we have one thing in common with all of us. We like to have the Science Center open. So because of that, I'm here. I was here last year on the rallies and everything else. But I like to address the management, the people who might make it happen. I like to know how far we are with the drive to our officials. What I'm gathering back from today is that it comes down to our next election next week, and that we all know that Ford is in the way ahead. So in order to defeat that, we have to team up, even doesn't matter, Liberal, NDP, otherwise we have no chance, because Ford is not going to change his mind about the Science Center. And really something
was down the street for me. A walk, I'm there. There's been a lot of talk about how Thorncliffe Park, Flemington Park, these neighborhoods, they're hard to get to for the rest of the city, is what we're told. I just want to mention that for me, with parents that were working all the time, it would have taken us around more than 3 hours to go to somewhere like the Royal Ontario Museum, the ROM, and then come back. They did not have that time. This is all I had. The kids in this neighborhood and in this community deserve to have the enriching experiences that kids all over the city do. And don't let Doug Ford convince you otherwise. Thank you.
Millions, and you forget it. I agree with these guys. We want the Science Center. We want the Science Center to be reopened. We want the Science Center to be renewed. We want the Science Center to be reinvested in. And you'll hear me say it again, because if it's not reinvested in, we have the same problem that we've had for the last 15 years, which is deferred maintenance, and makes an excuse for a future government, just like Doug Ford is using deferred maintenance to close the building. That building could have been open for March break just as easily as you could take out the 20,000 artifacts and ship them to Guelph and ship them to Huntsville and ship them out to Etobicoke and put them on a shelf in a warehouse. You can move them back. Now,
and I guess I'm fine, but he's screwing with me again, and you and all our friends and countless others. What we gonna do, honey? Just sit around getting hosed. It's locked up time. when the legislature closed. So conveniently it closed. For the summer, Ford pulled off this stunner before taking off in his Hummer or some equivalent. What you gonna do, Dougie? What you gonna do? Tear it down for the land it's on. Let's not misconstrue the shady deals you're pushing through. $1 billion to park at a spa's just wrong, but then you have no qualms. Your rich buddies, they're rubbing their palms together. Yes, they are. But what's the community to do now? Where the children gonna go? Oh, 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 oh. Look at the solutions. There must be 100 or more. Rhetoric won't fool us. We've seen this scam before. Fix the roof, open it up, listen to our roar. Jobs and joy and discovery, we want them back at the OSC. Do it for the community and do it 'cause it's the right thing. What you gonna do, Dougie? What you gonna do? What you gonna do, Dougie? We're watching you.
You two have, and Josh have done a great job getting this organized today with an army behind you.